Eclipse clothing. This is a knitting, spinning, fiber related podcast, and I'm coming to you from Brooklyn, New York. Today is Friday, August 2nd, and today we're going to be talking about some minimal finished objects, because I've finished a whole bunch of stuff. I've been away from podcasting since May, and I've done a few things, but they've been given away. So, yeah. But anyway, I have some works in progress, and I have quite a little bit of acquisitions that I want to share with you, and I have a little bit of spinning that I want to show you towards the end. Today we're doing a little bit of a different setup because it's very hot in New York City, and I don't want to turn off the AC in my room, so I came to the living room. The problem with that is that because it is the beginning of the month, people are moving in, and the living room is right next to the hallway, so there might be a lot of noises from that. So we'll see. The first project that I want to share with you is a pair of socks that I finished. I've been working on these for a few months, and I finished them earlier, and I wanted to show them to you. These are sort of almost vanilla socks. They're pretty plain. They just have a little bit of like a broken rib kind of thing. They are done cuff down. I started with 72 stitches. Then I did about 24 stitches of 2x2 ribbing, and then I changed it to the broken rib sort of pattern. I made some increases in this area to accommodate for my high instep. Then I did a German short row heel, and then I did a little bit of a gusset here to close down again the to decrease the number of stitches that I had increased up here back to 72, and then I just continued and did a regular wedge toe and Kitchener. This is a Portuguese wool that my friend Paula, I don't think you watched this. That my friend Paula sent to me when she was in Lisbon last year, at the end of last year. The name of the Portuguese company is called Rosa Pomar, and I don't remember the colorway. The colorways are numbers, so I'll just include the number down here. I don't remember the number, but it's kind of like a speckly gray with yellow. These are finished and blocked and ready to go for the winter. The typical needle size that I use for my socks, I start with a US 0 up here, and then I switch to a US 1 for the rest of the foot, I guess. I was going to say the rest of the body, but that sounds weird. This is the only finished object that I actually have with me to show you that I have knitted. The last time I recorded, I was working on two Tegna sweaters for my sisters for their birthdays. Their birthdays were back in May. I did finish them both in time for their birthdays, and I finished them, and I gave it to them, to each one of them, and they were a big success. But unfortunately, I don't have them here to show them to you. Maybe I have a picture here that I can include. I don't usually ask my sisters, or whenever I give, I don't usually, but sometimes I do. But like, for example, my sisters, when I make stuff for them, I don't ask them to model them for me so I can take pictures, because those are gifts for them. And though I know that it would be nice to show them, like on my Instagram or on here, they didn't sign up. they didn't sign up to be featured in a channel that I created or an Instagram account that I created. So out of respect for them, if they wanted to show them like that, they would create their own channel, or they would create their own Instagram and post them. So if they don't, they don't, right? So anyway, so that's why I don't have pictures of my sisters wearing their stuff, or whenever I give gifts to my family. That's why I typically don't have pictures, because I don't think it would be right. Anyway, so sorry. Also, I did finish a shawl that I made for a friend that visited last month, and I do have a picture of that. So actually, I'm going to talk about that shawl when I'm talking about that experience with my friend. So I'm just going to talk about that a little bit later, and I'm going to move on to the project that I'm actually working on currently, which is for some reason a whole bunch. So yeah, let's start with the sweater that I'm making for my friend, and her name is Connie, and she has a company called Chileknitz. And I am doing a Gaudi sweater for her. The design is by Julie Knits in Paris. Last year, in November, Barcelona had its first big fiber festival called Barcelona Knits. My friend Connie and her company, again Chileknitz, were vending there, and she collaborated with Julie Knits in Paris to do a special colorway and a special design for that event. The colorway was the Gaudi colorway, which is this, and I actually have shown that colorway in previous episodes because I made a hat out of that. So they collaborated together, and Julie Knits in Paris came up with this design using the colorway that Connie had created. So this year she's going back to Barcelona, and she's going to be vending there again, and I am going to be knitting the sweater that Julie designed for her. And this is the sweater. The sweater's called Gaudi. That's the name of the design. Gaudi, if you don't know, I'm sure you do, but Gaudi was a very famous Catalan architect. He designed several buildings that are very very unique in Barcelona, and the most famous one is La Sagrada Familia, which is a huge Gothic style cathedral. And also he did a lot of sculptures for Park Güell in Barcelona. I don't know if he designed the whole park, but I know that a lot of the sculptures and the mosaic style things that are cover the sculptures are made by him. So I think part of this is inspired by the park. Part of this is inspired by the stained glass windows and the design of La Sagrada Familia. So yeah, so this is what I've done so far. This is a top down colorwork yoke sweater. So you start with the collar. The collar has a 1x1 twisted rib, and then you move right on to the color work. Then you finish the yoke. You separate for the sleeves, and then I knitted the body, and at the bottom there is a little bit more color work, which actually that thing is, I'm hoping that that's going to go away after the blocking, because I don't like that the hem is curling up. But anyway, actually this colorway did a very fun, interesting thing at the hem with the pooling, and I love it because it really looks like stained glass. I like the pooling that it does. But yes, so and now I'm working on the first sleeve. I alternated skeins for the body, not so much for the sleeve. I am maybe an inch away from finishing this part. Then there is like 2 inches of color work that is similar to this on the bottom of the sleeve, and then I will pick up and start the second sleeve. Like I said, I am using Connie's yarns. This is her her Gaudi colorway, and this is her Who colorway. And the Gaudi is actually her Stellina base, which is I think it's nylon and Stellina and merino. And the Who is her Nube base, which is just 100% merino. And I'm not sure you can see the Stellina very well, but yeah. So that's what I have so far. I am using Chagu needles. I am a rather loose knitter, so I know that every time that there's a gauge in a pattern, I have to go down a couple of needle sizes. So I am actually using a US 2 for the body. I used a US 2.5 for the color work, and I am going to go and use one of these needles, 2.5 12-inch circular needle for the bottom of the sleeve. So that's the first work in progress that I have, and it currently lives in my French Supply field bag. The next work in progress that I have is a shawl that I already made, but I am making this again for a friend. Her name is Debbie, and she has hand dyeing business. Her company is called Murky, and I am making the girl's best friend shawl in her yarns, and this is what I have so far. I've done the first section, and I've done the first stripe of the lace section. And this is what the shawl is going to look like once it's finished. This is my shawl. As you can see, I haven't cut the ends of the pom-poms yet because I'm lazy. This is my shawl. This is the one that I made for me earlier this year, and that's what it looks like finished. I'd shown it to you earlier in the previous episode. But anyway, so this is what I've done so far. For this one, because I was afraid that it was going to be too small for me, I went up a needle size. The pattern calls for a US 4, sorry, and I went to a US 5 for this. The shawl for my friend, I am doing as I did not do a gauge lunch, but I'm doing as the pattern calls for. I'm using a US 4 for this one. And her yarn is called Murky Depths, and her deep sock base. This is 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon, and the colorway, the first color is Knight in a Tarnished Armor, and let me take this up because it's hot. The first contrasting color, which is this gray without any of the yellow, is called Salted Earth. It's this color. And the third color, which is a beautiful mustardy yellow, which is what I'm doing the lace section in, is called Little Miss Sunshine, also in the same deep sock. So hopefully next time you see me, this is going to be finished and blocked. And the next work in progress that I have is this hat that I'm making for the anti-bullying campaign, Hat Not Hate, that Shira Blumenthal, I think it's her name. She's the daughter of the owner of the Lion Brand company, I believe. That she launched last year with Louis Boria, Brooklyn Tweed Vale. They launched last year this anti-bullying campaign for knitting blue hats, blue being the anti-bullying color. So knitting blue hats and distributing them in public schools during the month of October, which I believe is the anti-bullying month. And this year they're doing it again, and I am knitting a hat for that. And this is what I have so far. I am doing the 2x2 hat, which I've already done one for myself. I'm using the same pattern. The designer is Angie, I believe. And it's just a plain 2x2 all the way until you start the crown decreases, and you keep the 2x2 ribbing effect even in the crown. So I figured that this would be the best pattern to use for a hat that I am not sure who's going to get. because the ribbing kind of like tightens in, so it can stretch a lot and still be comfortable. So it can fit, I guess, different head sizes. Like, because for example, for me, I would need something that is really big. So yeah, fortunately, the deadline was originally for August 1st, and clearly I did not finish that for August 1st. But they pushed back the deadline to September 1st. So I am definitely going to be able to finish this and maybe even make another one. I don't know. The yarn I'm using is it's a Malabrigo yarn. It's 100% superwash merino. It's a single ply, and it's called Washted, which I believe it's a new line. It's very similar to their worsted, but I believe that the worsted single ply is non-superwash. So this is their superwash version of the same sort of the same yarn. And the colorway is Cowboy, which is appropriately named because it looks like denim. So, yep. I am using US 6 needles for this. Yeah, 4 millimeters. And I'm using a stitch marker that my friend who came to visit made for me. And this one is living in my Mr. Indigo bags, which I don't think they exist anymore, with the Sugar Skulls print on it. And that's it for my works in progress for today. But I still have a couple of things that I'm going to show you. I'm going to start by talking about my friend MJ, who is from Seville in Spain. She came over at the beginning of last month. And she spent like a week and a half here in New York with her husband and her baby. And I met her because she has a podcast in Spanish, and we've connected through our podcasts, and we've been talking since I started and she started. We started both at around the same time, and we became very good friends. And she was coming to New York, so I decided that I wanted to make her a shawl, and she also decided that she wanted to make me one. So this is the one that she made for me. She designed this shawl for me. It is an asymmetrical triangular shawl, and it's very, very, very big. It has a like a built-in I cord as the edge, both edges, and the bind off. And yeah, it doesn't have a name, I don't think. I don't know if she's going to write down the pattern and release it, but this is mine, and she designed it for me, and it is very nice. Fortunately, I don't know like the needle size or anything like that, but I know that it is done with a yarn that is dyed in Barcelona by an indie dyer in Barcelona. Her name is Marta, and her company is Dingolondando yarns, maybe. And it is this is a blend of merino, yak, and silk, and it is so soft and so nice, and it's too bad you can't touch it, because you would love it as much as I do. And it has a really nice drape, and it's very nice and warm, and because it is very nice and warm, and I'm about to take it off because I'm going to start sweating like a piggy. But yes, so this is the shawl that my friend made for me. And also, like I said, I made one for her. I don't have it because now it lives in Seville, and she has it. I made it. I'm going to post a picture. I'm going to post a picture here. I made it with Brooklyn Tweed Vale, which is their lace weight line, and I think it's 100% Rambouillet. Maybe not, but I think it's 100% Rambouillet. And I used the colorways Hammock, which is this blown out white, and Sashiko, which is this like navy blue, very dark blue. And I used these colors because my friend likes Japanese culture. She had her wedding a few years ago. She made thousands of origami cranes that she and her husband made by hand to decorate with at their wedding reception all over. And then I believe that they went to Japan for their honeymoon, I believe. So anyway, so I wanted the design has nothing to do with Japanese culture or anything like that, because I don't know anything about. Sadly, I don't know anything about Japanese culture to inform a design with. So I just made a very plain design with these colors because I wanted to at least evoke the idea of the Sashiko technique of mending. Originally, I had a different idea for the border, but it didn't work out. And in my style, I didn't give myself time enough to make mistakes. So I was really pushed for time. I actually didn't finish the shawl until like the night before that they were leaving back for Spain. So I was like literally like binding off that night and blocking it that night. Fortunately, it's summer here, and lace weight dries very quickly. So I used this is what I have left of the second skein of the second skein of the Sashiko colorway, and this is what I have left of the of one skein. So basically, I used, I would say, like 2.5 skeins, I guess. Right? More than 2 for sure, but I haven't weighed these. They were 50-gram skeins with like 400 yards each, maybe something like that. But anyway, so yep. So this is what I have left, and that was the shawl that I made for my friend MJ. And anyway, when she was here, we did a little tour of the Brooklyn yarn shops. We did like basically our own private Brooklyn yarn crawl. And I don't know if you remember that last time when the Brooklyn yarn crawl happened, I didn't go to all the shops. So I did get the bag. Right, these are the participating shops for the Brooklyn yarn crawl: Argyle, Brooklyn General, Woolen, and String Thing. I did not get to go to all the shops on that day, so I didn't get all the official pins from each of the shops. But because this time I did go to all of them, I was able to complete my pin collection. So now I have all of the pins and the official pin for this year's yarn crawl. Yay. But anyway, so that's how we started. We went to Argyle Yarn Shop first, then Brooklyn General, then String Thing, and then Woolen. Not the other way around. Woolen and then String Thing. And my friend bought a lot of things. I did not. I only bought a few things. What did I buy? I bought I think I bought a skein of yarn from Argyle that was a Hedgehog's Fiber exclusive colorway to the store, but I gave that to my friend as a memento of our yarn crawl. And then at Brooklyn General, I did buy me this, which the French Supply field bag in their plum color. This is a waxed canvas one, and I saw it since Rainback and it sold out and I wanted it, so I bought it. And my friend got me this skein of yarn from Life in the Long Grass. This is I believe it's might be a UK or an Irish company. Brooklyn General sells a lot of European yarns that are not so easily accessible on this side of the pond, and she got me this, and it's Moorlands, I think it's the colorway. Yeah, Moorlands is the colorway, and it's their fine sock. So I am guessing that this is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. So yes, I don't know. I don't have a project for this because I don't have a project. I don't have a project for this. This was a gift, so, and I love it, and it's very nice. And so, but I've been out of control with the yarn chopping. So, time to confess and make amends. Oh, I've been out of control with the yarn shopping. So, um, I haven't seen you in almost May, June, July, in almost 3 months. I haven't seen you in almost 3 months, and I've bought more yarn than I should have. I don't know if I regret it. Well, I bought more yarn than I should have, and I've been giving yarn. So maybe I shouldn't feel so dirty, but I do. Anyway, um, the last month, no, in June, at Argyle Yarn Shop, there was a trunk show. Um, there was a trunk show with oh, what's her name? I can't remember her name, but the company is a Neighborhood Fiber Company, and they had a trunk show, and I went there because I like their yarns. I had seen her yarns at Vogue Knitting Live, and I had bought some mohair that went into the 2x2 hat that I've made earlier in the year, and some mohair that went into the Marl Magic sweater that I'm still working on. And I haven't made any progress on that one, so I'm not showing that to you because of that. So this is what I got at the trunk show there. I got she had some colorways that were exclusive to the store that were done for this. Either they're exclusive to the store, or they were done. I mean, they are exclusive, but I don't know if they're repeatable or if they're a one-time thing for this trunk show. But it's a mohair and a sock yarn. It's superwash merino, and it's called Windsor Terrace. Windsor Terrace is the neighborhood in Brooklyn where Argyle Yarn Shop is located. So this is merino, this is mohair, silk mohair, and I got these two. And also she had some Pride colors. It was in June, and she was collecting. She was doing like a fundraiser. She had these Pride colors, and some of the proceeds from those colors would go to a LGBT Latino foundation in Washington, D.C. So I got this sock blank that is called Pride. The colorway is called Pride, and it's a sock blank with the rainbow colors. I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but it is 1,000 yards, so I can make a shawl that I can make a full shawl with this, or something like that. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet, but I wanted to buy it. I like it, and yeah. And also I bought a pin, which is like a hand holding a ball of yarn in the Pride colors. And also part of the sales of this pin were going to this foundation. I don't remember the name of the foundation, but I remember that it was a Latino LGBT foundation in Washington D.C. So yeah, so that's what I bought at the trunk show, and I was gonna say I think that's all my I think that's all my shopping, but it is not. At the end of last month, String Thing Studio also had a trunk show with Lola Bean yarns, and I was there, and I bought some yarn too. This is what I got from Lola Bean Yarn Company. It was very nice to meet the owner. She was Adela, I think is her name. She was very sweet, and she does beautiful colorways, and that's what I bought. These are also sock yarns. That's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and they're very sweet. And that's what I bought. I do not have projects for these in mind either, and that's dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. And also, Marta from Dingolondando yarns, the indie dyer that my friend MJ and Seville used, sent me these skeins of yarn. They are very, very, very pretty. These two are the same quality as the shawl that my friend made. That's our company, Dingolondando, which in Spanish means like hugs and kisses, or it's a way of saying like hugs and kisses. I guess it's like an XOXO. I don't know. But anyway, so these are the yak merino and silk. And also, she included this. This is 100% merino single. These are also singles, but this is 100% merino. And I asked her for these colors because I'm thinking of. Well, I asked her for the blues, and then she included this rusty orange because I want to make the doodler. It's a Stephen West shawl, and these might be interesting colors to do it with. And also, she included these handmade ceramic buttons that she makes, and they are very nice. And something else that I recently got are these yarns that my friend from Buenos Aires sent to me. I don't know if you guys remember, last year a group of friends decided to do like a shawl swap. We knitted shawls for each other, and the friend that I knitted the shawl for, her name was Alejandra. She's from Buenos Aires. I sent her that shawl, and a couple of days ago, her husband came to New York for a business trip, and she took the opportunity to send me some of her hand-dyed yarns. She has her own business called Pura Hilados. I don't know if you are familiar with Joji Locatelli. You might have seen my friend in one of her journals, and you might have seen her yarns being used by Joji. So yeah, if you follow her, her name is Alejandra Ale, and Joji talks about her, and she was so sweet, and she sent me a whole bunch of her hand dyed yarns, and these are Argentinian wools that she sources out in Argentina, and then she dyes them and sells them on Etsy. And her company is, like I said, Pura Hilados. This is a worsted, non-superwash, 100% merino. And so this is like super fine, like the micron count is really low. I think it's maybe like 16, 18 microns, which that means the lower the micron count, the smaller the individual fiber is, or the thickness of the individual fiber is, which means that it is softer. But it also, if it's softer, it also makes it a little more delicate. So you have to, the finer it is, the more pilling it might get. So you have to be careful about what kind of projects you make for. So these are probably ideal for like a cowl or something like that, something that is not going to get a lot of friction. Though with my furry neck, I don't know. So I don't know, I haven't decided what I'm gonna make with these. She sent these to me, then she sent these fingering weight yarns that are also 100% merino, but these ones are plied in a different way, so it makes it a little more resistant, right? These are like a chainette ply-in. I don't know if you can see, it's not really like a traditional ply, it's more like a chainette, which makes it more resistant to peeling. So these are maybe like fingering, heavy fingering sport. So I don't know what I'm going to do with these yet either, but I love them. These are super nice. And she sent me a singles lace also. That is also 100% merino, and this is so soft. It's probably going to go into a nice shawl or something like that. So yes, these are the gifts that Alejandra sent me. Super nice, and I am very lucky. I'm very, very, very lucky to have friends that are so kind and so generous and so giving. And she also, because she's super nice, she made some stitch markers, and she sent me some. And lastly, because I am spoiled rotten, it's so embarrassing, right? I mean, like, I am spoiled rotten, and yeah. So I don't know if you remember that earlier, at the end of last year, beginning of this year, I was making a shawl for a friend. That was the dotted rays, the Stephen West dotted rays shawl that I dyed. I dyed the wool, I dyed the yarns in like a yellow and gray gradient for my friend. It was a gift for her wedding, not necessarily a wedding gift, but it was a gift for her wedding because she was gonna get married in February, which she did. Congratulations, Paula. And this is the same friend actually that sent me the yarns for the socks that I showed earlier in this episode. And so I made the shawl, I sent it to her, and she decided that she was going to wear the shawl in her wedding, and she made a dress using the colors that were in the shawl to match with the shawl. And she made me a project bag with some of the leftovers from her wedding dress. So this is the bag that she made with the fabric from her wedding dress, which I think it's very, very sweet, and I really love it and appreciate it. And obviously she didn't have to do that, but she did. So she sent me this bag, and she also included some yarns from Barcelona. That's where she lives, and this is from a company called Soc una Troca, which I think that's Catalan and translates into I am a skein. I think. I'm not sure, right? But this is the colorway for the Barcelona Knits Festival from last year that this company dyed for the exclusive color for that festival. And then she also sent me another one from a company called Yarnitas, which is this one is like a chunky sort of yarn, a single, and this is a fingering weight plied yarn. And this company does a botanical dyeing, eco printing sort of dyeing. So yeah, and also she sent me a lavender soap that she gave out as wedding favors in her wedding. And I don't remember the name of the maker for the soaps, but if I remember, I will include the name in the description. Yes. So super spoiled, and it's a little bit embarrassing. I mean, I guess I'm not embarrassed enough that I'm bragging about it on YouTube. But yeah, so yes, so thanks everyone, and I feel very loved. And lastly, Jesus, if you've stuck around this long, I'm sorry. It's been a while, and I run my mouth, and I'm trying. Spinning. I finished the spinning that I was doing. I'm not sure if you'll recall my friend Katelynn from my spinning group at Knitted City on Sundays. She carded a bunch of small bats, and she gifted me one that she carded for me back in March, and I finally finished the project, and it is finished. It's I did a traditional 3-ply on this, and I'm going to use this as a future project for socks. My friend Belén from Tejer en Inglés, whom I've talked about previously in other episodes, she has a YouTube channel where she helps Spanish knitters understand the terms of the English terms for knitting, which are very standard, so that they can so that they can read patterns in English. Even if they don't speak English, they can read them and understand what the basic gist of the pattern, so they can make the pattern themselves, even if they don't speak the language. So so that's the mission of her channel. And she recently released a sock pattern that is like an 80s retro sock pattern, and so I'm going to use these. I'm going to use this skein of yarn to make socks, and I'm going to use these Chileknitz in a very bright, like highlighter yellow, called Sol, that she gave me last year for my birthday. That's going to be the contrasting color for the heels and the stripes and the toes on the socks, and that's going to be my future knitting. And lastly, my next spinning project is this this Into the World Polworth silk roving that I am going to spin. I decided to do a fractal spin. It's not I don't know. It's not like a real fractal, like a mathematical fractal. Mathematical fractal is like things that that repeat themselves into smaller and smaller and smaller bits. So, for example, the shoreline is something that is fractal, in that like the smaller you go, the small, like, it repeats itself. I'm not explaining myself very well. I'm not even sure how to explain it mathematically. But anyway, the idea is that there are things that you see like a hole, and then, like, if you look closer at the edge of the hole, you'll see the same form again, and the more you zoom in, you'll see the same thing repeated and repeated and repeated and repeated infinitely, or something of that sort. So the idea of the fractal spinning is that I had this long piece of roving, and I decided to divide it into 3, because I'm going to do a traditional 3-ply again, right? So this is one of the pieces from the roving that I divided into 3, and I kept that one. The colors repeat themselves in a certain pattern, right? So when I'm spinning it, the idea is that if you spin it without breaking the roving, you're going to get one single that is going to have those colors in that way. So then that's one. The second one, I decided, the second strip, because like I said, I divided that into 3. The second strip I divided into 2, and then I'm going to make one single. Again, like, I'm going to do the single, but because it's going to be thinner, the colors are going to jump faster, right, with these 2. And then the third, I divided the third strip into 3s, 1, 2, and 3, and then I'm going to spin one single with these 3, and then the color breaks are going to come faster even. So then at the end, I'm going to ply the 3 yarns together, and I'm not making any sense. Oh my god. Anyway, so I'm going to spin them together, and then one strand, or one single out of the 3 is going to have like the longer color repeats. The second one is going to have like slightly shorter color repeats of the same sequence, and the third one is going to have like really short color repeats of the same sequence. That's the idea of fractal spinning. we'll see how it works out. I will show you in a future episode, I'm sure. But anyway, so so with that confusing mess, I am going to leave you. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for checking out my channel. If you want to follow me on social media, I am more active on Instagram than I am on Ravelry, but my handle is the same. It's JonBoyNY on Instagram or on Ravelry, and you can follow me there. You can leave me messages, and I'll be happy to reply. And have a wonderful rest of the summer, and hopefully I will see you sooner next time around than this. So good day and happy knitting. Bye.